Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from whatever time zone you may be. And this is Off the Grid Podcast with Aiden, Jared, and Nathan.
I'm in here this time. There we go.
Get screwed up.
Getting screwed up. All right, yeah. So we're still on the topic of abortion, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the science of it. So
yeah.
Should I just jump right into it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So we're going to talk about like the weeks of what's happening and of the process. So week 1 and 2. I haven't really read this before, but it's good knowledge to have. So you're learning it with me. Weeks 1 and 2 of pregnancy. Your baby has yet to be conceived. Your pregnancy begins as your body gears up for ovulation and prepares for fertilization. Did not know that. Did you know that?
Roughly.
Okay. So we're gonna jump around a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're down to week 3. Your baby's smaller than a poppy seed.
And then a
insane.
poppy seed.
I did know poppy seed. So week 4, your baby is the size of a poppy seed. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
So
Imagine
is
that.
that funny?
Imagine that.
I don't know.
I don't have to imagine it. That's just the
Okay,
fact of the
let's
matter.
What's
continue.
so funny about that?
Keep
You
going.
laughed. Okay. Week 5 of your pregnancy. Maybe not your pregnancy if you're a guy, possible. But your baby is the size of an orange seed. The heart and the circulatory system are developing. So that's pretty neat. So circulatory system is like all the blood vessels. So, which means at that point, I don't think they have it in the notes or in our notes.
At the point, it's good to know.
But like your baby already is developing blood type.
yeah.
By it, like how it could be the same blood type that the parent is, but a lot of times
Luckily,
it's not.
Different. It's different.
Right.
So it's a different blood type. So
than
let's
the
talk
mom.
about that. Like,
Yeah.
why is that a big
talk
deal
about that.
in terms of what we're talking about, abortion, or about the morality of what we're talking about? Like, is this just a clump of cells, or
Is it
does
an
the
actual living
blood
being?
itself, like, being that it can be a completely different type of blood, and it is a different type of blood than what the mother has? Is that, do you know what I'm saying? Like, is that a moral thing? Like, are we talking about a clump of cells now? Or are we talking about
I mean,
of
I
separate
think
living
I think it boils right down to, like once it's conceived, the
Why when
sperm
they say
goes with
fertilize,
the
it's
egg, and
living,
then
it's living.
So what you're saying is the
when it's
rest of my
fertilization.
weeks-
I mean, that's abortion there. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
But
So what you're saying is the rest of what I have to say just doesn't matter.
yeah, it shouldn't matter.
Basically,
We'll go
I mean,
over it
shouldn't.
still, though.
No,
Yeah.
but
Shouldn't, though,
no, I mean for the people that think that you can
Abort up
abort
to
a baby
this
after a
time.
certain amount of weeks, then it's okay. Okay, that's enough. No more after that.
Right.
But I think that to anyone who's listening to this, that you should get on board with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Why
Because
not
the-
fertilization?
Like, understand what we're coming from here, because it shouldn't be too complicated. Just like with allowing, I know this is kind of weird, but letting like transgender people into other bathrooms and stuff, it's like like, oh well, I feel like I'm a woman, so I should be in the woman's restroom. No, you're a guy. That's not
have
your
a-
bathroom. Go to the men's. It's like, if you have a penis, go to the men's bathroom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It should be boiling
Oh,
down
I'm
just
just a
straight to
bill.
that.
I'm just a bill.
Yeah.
I mean, if you happen to go through the complete change and you get the opposite body part, then yeah, go ahead and use that restroom. But
Right.
Not
that
even
point.
that.
Until
Not
that-
even that. because
Until
of
then.
DNA. Let's talk about that really quick. Not even because of DNA is still.
Yeah, I don't know. So
unless you could change your DNA. I don't
it's
think
pretty
so.
neat because I'm looking at it's neat to look at this, not exactly what we're talking about, but it's neat because they're showing you the stages of the pregnancy, and I mean we're talking about the second trimester now. It's the 14th week.
Here's time jump.
It looks like a child pretty much already. It already looks like a child, and it's just amazing. So
Let me take a look.
your
Yeah, it
your
is.
baby is the size of your fist.
Wow.
It's all about hair now, as your baby sprouts some from his head, eyebrows, body. As for the mom, the first trimester symptoms should be easing up a bit. So it's like, this is the point where a lot of people will be like, oh, the baby's already coming down. Because I think this is the point where,
what are they saying up to? What are they universally coming up to? Like, people saying, okay, this is the week that you should
This is
stop.
The cutoff.
right.
Cut off.
Normally people say like after the first or second or before the first or second trimester, because we're talking about, they're talking about like the nervous system. So the nervous system hasn't came in, so they're not going to actually feel pain, or they're going to talk
It
about
doesn't
this.
matter.
So
It's still human
so
beings.
as what Jared was talking about, it doesn't matter when it comes down to the thing, when it comes down to it, because we believe, we all agree on this, that there's a potential there. There's always potential when it comes down to a person, when it comes down to a baby, when it comes down to, if people want to call it a clump of cells. There's potential there. If there was, Ben Shapiro, he's a great guy to listen to on topics.
I
of
love
this.
listening to him.
I would definitely
Definitely
our
recommend them.
podcast might be good on this stuff, but his podcast is great.
like
I'm
the
sorry,
best. It's
I'm
the
sorry,
best.
guys,
It
but
is.
Yeah,
it's,
no,
it's
I
very
agree
good.
with
Not
you.
his experience.
Yeah.
No, not his experience
Right.
at all.
So he talks about the idea that there's a potential. That's kind. I think that's where I got the killing baby Hitler. Like, is it more?
yeah,
of a
from
kill?
him. Yeah.
So-
yeah.
But this is the potential argument about of who the person is. Like there's an idea that. Sorry, I think I'm losing my train of thought. There's an idea like that killing the baby. There's a clump of cells, and if you found these clump of cells in a mom, people will talk about how, oh, it's just a clump of cells. We'll just abort it. I know it's hard to not laugh at me.
Yeah, sorry.
It's great. It's great. But as far as that goes, if he always says, if you would find those two cells that were together on Mars, would you not say life found on Mars? I don't care if they're dead.
Yeah.
Would you not say
People-
life is found on Mars?
Right. That's
People
that's a
care
good.
more about life on Mars than
Yeah.
actual human beings. It makes me sick.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, if you saw a single cell
Come on, Elon
microorganism living or dead on Mars, and we
You'd be like,
scooped it up in the
"Oh."
dirt and we opened it up, and we're
You're
like,
oh,
Well,
Do
that's
you
like
see that?
you know, like with the woolly mammoth, they're frozen. A lot of them
Oh,
are
I see.
frozen, and like
Yeah.
you can actually see there was one of them, or maybe there was a couple. I don't know, but they found one that was like fully intact, like the Iceman. You remember when we learned that in
forget his
sixth
name.
grade?
yeah.
yeah,
But
with,
he was up in the
social
Italian
studies.
Alps or something.
I
I don't
don't
know,
know.
but
Yeah, we watched a video. on
yeah,
it,
but
like,
it was kind of
skull
like
and everything,
that,
yeah.
where the woolly mammoth was fully intact. It had all the cells
Right.
were kept like
Right.
perfect.
Because ice
And
preserves.
would you
ice
not?
preserves.
Would you not say that that
Alive,
was
yeah.
alive?
Yeah.
Like that's a life, or so to speak.
We say that, and yet a human baby inside someone is not.
Right.
Yeah.
So
That's-
it's the
that's makes me
argument that
sick.
there's potential. So we say, oh, there's life on Mars. There's potential now for there to be life, or at least there was potential for there to be life. So now we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Those same cells, let's bring them into the body. Like now we're talking, is this a life or not? And a lot of people say no because it can't feel pain. Well,
You believe in
well,
aliens,
where's
but
our
not
where's our
morality. No.
where's our morality in that? We're talking about life here, in the potential. I think it really comes down to potential
potential.
of what it is. Like,
Potential of a human.
I'm gonna
life.
tell you, I don't care if I step on an ant. I'm sorry, some people actually might not like that, but
Oh yeah, because there's certain
was a-
religions like
oh yeah,
you know that believe it's like their
Islam.
ancestors or
Hinduism,
something.
Hinduism,
Islam,
stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they you know if
Islam
they
believes in it?
oh well they kind of believe in like the idea of even when it comes down to like trees, like treat the
Everything's
trees nice,
connected.
like
everything's
everything,
connected.
like you can't kill a tree or else you could be killed. It's
I sure that's not Hinduism.
no, that was like
I'm-
Buddhism or
it's-
something. You know,
well,
like
yeah,
one of
Buddhism
those.
It's kind of like a peaceful religion, but like I'm talking about like
Kind of. Buddhism is peaceful. I mean, all they
yeah,
do is
well
sit up in
people
the
say
mountains
Islam is peaceful, but
and, no, it's,
it's
not.
not. Yeah,
That's
but
proven.
but as far as like they will say, all I was saying is that I'm not saying the potential of an ant is a lot different than the potential of
Of
a
a
human.
human being.
Right.
I'm saying that because it really does come down to the potential.
It comes down to intelligence too. I mean, I watched a video on AI once, but it brought up something cool, which is like we only consider a human being more valuable than an ant because of its intelligence.
Absolutely, no. And the
Like-
same thing, like, people will argue, I don't know what your guys' beliefs exactly on it, but, like, that a monkey,
Yeah.
like, I believe in creation, so I believe that God made everything at once, more or less, so that's how it came to be. Now, I'm also, like, so I'm not going to say a monkey is, like, right before humans, or that's really not what evolution says, but for simplistics,
Quasiplistics, yeah.
but they're like, does that have as much value or just a little
Well-
bit less value than humans?
Mm.
I would say no. Like it's still this almost the same thing as killing
And plus
a
dolphins are more
human or
intelligent.
ant, like killing a monkey over an ant,
Mhm.
because you're still not. There's no intelligence there. There's no free will,
Concept
so
of
to
time
speak.
Right.
too. That's another thing.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about concept of time for free will. That's kind of like a signifying factor. Like if I can know when I get up in the morning that it was a new morning and have that concept. Oh, 3 weeks ago, a monkey isn't gonna think. Oh, 3 weeks ago I dug that. 3 weeks ago I wanted to, or 3 weeks ahead I want to build something. It's like
Yeah.
no, I
They
want to
just
do
think-
whatever I
they
want.
think in the now.
They think
and
in the now, and that's all they can.
Yeah.
They might think, oh, I'm hungry. It's too dark. I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow. But that wasn't really thinking like there is a tomorrow. That's
It's
just be like I
instinct.
can't
Yeah,
can't
something
hunt
like
right
that.
now. I'm just gonna go tomorrow. Like I'm just gonna fall asleep.
That's kind of the way the
That's an
dog.
instinct.
That's a
It's
debate about
not-
the dogs too, which I think is kind of cool. But that's another thing.
Right.
But
Yeah. That's a whole other thing. We could talk about time. I love talking about time. I hate talking about time. It's a weird thing. We should do a podcast on that. But that's a whole nother podcast. Okay.
Yep.
It's a tradition.
We say that every
Every time.
time.
But it's so true.
All right. So, any more on the?
Let's just go
process?
let's jump a little bit. 17th week, let's say. Your baby is the size of the palm of your hand. Your little one
Oh.
is practicing sucking and swallowing as
Wow.
she, it doesn't say or he, she or he gets ready for the real thing. So,
Wow.
so,
Here's something I'd like to add to that. I have some of my notes. I don't think it says. It also says at let me find it.
I like it.
And at 17 weeks, the baby's skeleton changed from soft cartilage to bone.
Yeah, no,
So-
that I mean, these are all interesting things. I this is more based on the size, I guess.
Yeah.
So your baby is the size of a half gallon of milk. Well, thank you for comparing my baby
To a half
gallon
gallon
of
milk.
Is
Wow.
practicing survival skills like sucking and breathing while.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, let's continue. Your baby is the size of a large cantaloupe.
What
Is that
week
really
is
compared
that?
to?
What week is that? What week is
Wow.
that?
That's week 37. So
Your baby's size of a cantaloupe.
your baby is the size of a small pumpkin. How small? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
because-
How small a pumpkin? Let me tell
I
you.
think that this website is definitely not the right place to go to because it's just talking
But
about
it is
more or less
hilarious.
size.
Though.
But
It's
like
hilarious.
circulatory system and nervous system, where they all come in at a point. But what are we talking about? We're talking about a time frame that a part of the body, a part of a whole, comes together. The nervous system, yeah, the baby can't feel pain until the nervous system comes around.
Yeah.
But the nervous system, if left to it, or the whole body will, if left to its own ability, will create the nervous system. Will
Yeah.
create the thoughts. Will create the
it has to survive.
right. So we're talking about not so much the exact, like we don't need to focus on the exact time. There is no moral time to kill a child in the womb. Like
There's
there's no
none.
moral time. Like we're everybody knows this now. If anyone's following politics, is there someone somewhere? I don't really know. If you actually search this, you will find it. Some government official went on a radio station and said something about
Jared sent me. Wasn't it like a court or something?
what?
It's
it's-
Jared sent me something about a guy in a court that was like.
No.
He said this,
Oh yeah. About the doctor, the
Yeah.
abortion doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We might be talking about the same thing. He might have, but
He like went in front of the court and. What you're saying? Someone that called
someone
into a
went onto
radio station. though.
No, someone went to a radio station, just kind of like what we were doing, just talking in a small interview style. And he said something like, "Oh, he had a powerful position, so he went up and he said like, oh well, why don't we put this into the law? Is that
that's not what we
a
were talking
baby, a mother who's having an abortion or
Yeah.
decides can have the child on a botched abortion, and then if the child still can
about. Alive.
develop, or what do you call it? The child still comes out and it's
alive.
alive.
That
Yeah.
is-
It's a botched abortion, and then they put it on a cart and they roll it to the next room, and then the doctor and the mother will decide
Do you want to kill it?
if they want to kill it or not.
Wow.
Even
Yeah,
though
that
it's
goes back
perfectly
to, like-
viable.
That is murder right there. That
Yeah.
This is
pure
this is
murder.
exactly what going back to like the political side of it.
Oh, the Democrat.
It's the Democrats that are leaning towards killing the baby outside the womb, and it's like it's okay, you
Did
know.
you see what
Right.
Virginia
And
just
there
did?
was,
it's a little bit-
Not everyone
I
agrees
want-
on that. I'm not saying everyone agrees on that. We're not.
Well, I
saying,
know, but-
I know we're not all saying that liberals or leftists or whatever
Wow.
are all thinking the exact same thing. But
Wow.
they're definitely more going to lean that way.
Yeah, and
Yeah, that's true.
but I heard a story on the radio the other day about I believe it was in New York because nowadays New York is kind of
No, absolutely.
Messed up.
But
It's like woohoo.
yeah, a
It's
little
the law,
cuckoo, Cortez. But anyways, what happened was there was the boyfriend, they got pregnant,
Mhm.
and then the girlfriend ended up getting killed by the boyfriend,
Okay.
Oh.
and so
Murder.
the baby then was not
Oh,
born yet.
Correct.
So he got charged for the murder of his girlfriend, but did not get charged for the killing of the baby.
Right.
Because
How is
in
that
that
right?
state,
Yeah.
it's it's
Right.
not considered an actual baby yet.
And the only thing, like, if it
Mm,
comes
that's
down to it,
interesting.
where like that protects, I forget why that was taken away. I'm more in agreement of 2 murders because you're talking about it. But if there was no intent, this is a really weird conversation to have. But like, let's say the mother, this is one example. But like, let's say the mother doesn't look like she's pregnant, and this person's going to kill them.
Yeah.
Should
What?
the
But-
murderer be taken for 2, or if like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
Yeah,
a
I know,
harder
but,
issue,
like,
but as far as it
I
comes
mean,
down to
that's
it,
like saying, I mean, don't charge the doctor. He, he's killing, this.
no. The opposite thing would be if I punched a pregnant woman in the stomach and just killed the baby. That's still a murder. That's still like
Right.
I would absolutely, because you're talking about I still believe it's a life. I still believe, and if the thing is like it comes down to the fact that if that's a murder, and most everybody will agree that if you punch a pregnant woman who's wanting to have that child in the stomach and the child dies, first of all, we're using the word child here. Second of all, the mother wants it. You're killing something that she wanted. Now,
Against
even
her will.
if she was going to have an abortion, I think most people would be against him coming up and punching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
But
it's
you're
still,
saying that so if
I'm not
so-
solid in my thoughts. I haven't thought about it much.
I know,
at
but
all.
like from what I can gather, you're saying that if the boyfriend didn't know his girlfriend was pregnant, punched or like not punched, but killed his girlfriend, and like I didn't know she was pregnant,
Right.
that sort of thing, then he shouldn't get charged, is what you're kind of leaning towards.
Kind
Or-
of like the insanity plea, not really. But
because
like,
I don't know. I haven't
mean,
really thought about
I don't
that.
know the full scope
Story.
of the story, but I believe he did know.
Okay.
I would.
Oh
I would
yeah,
think.
No, I wasn't saying. This is hypothetical. That was
Yeah, I know.
not, and it's not a well thought out thing. I don't.
Yeah.
I really don't know. Don't take my word on that, viewers or Aiden and Jared.
Yep.
mhm.
I don't know. I need to think about that more. I really, truly don't know.
So you want to
Shouldn't
go
have even said
into
it.
how the abortion actually happens, Aiden?
Yeah, it's gonna be graphic, but
Yeah, just graphic warning here, just
Beep 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 beep.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we need a
seriously though, yeah, it's gonna be graphic. Okay, so that's absolutely unthinkable. So what happens first is that the baby, first of all, there's something new that happens.
Chemical.
Since poison.
Yeah.
Poison the baby to help with killing it. Next, a suctioning tube is inserted into the woman's uterus, which kills the baby by crushing its skull and sucking out its brains. And then it's chopped up into tiny little
sounds like a
pieces.
horror film.
Yeah. And the worst part, contrary to what the Democrats think, the worst part is that the baby feels absolutely everything.
Yeah.
No one has a right to choose this. Absolutely no one. That's all I have to say about it. It's just so graphic. I mean, and even if it wasn't as graphic as it is,
Yeah, and
It's the morality. It's the potential. It comes down to that.
chopping
and,
up a baby into tiny pieces.
See,
I mean,
that's the thing is we can always come back to the potential. We can always
Yeah.
come back to the morality of what we're doing. So it's like these arguments. We could name a graphic thing, or we could name the simplest thing: the day after
the
pill.
pill.
Super simple. You don't see anything. Nothing really happens. Like you don't.
But
like
it's still killing it.
it's still. We're not talking about. Oh, up into this day. We're talking about the whole morality of it. We're talking about the potential
Yeah.
of that person.
Yeah.
Our argument does not change whether it's rape, incest. Like we should take care of the rapists. Like not
Oh, yeah.
not the babies. The babies.
Yeah, the baby is not the problem
baby's
here.
not the problem. It's the rapist.
Yeah, it's the rapist.
As Ben
the
Shapiro would say, castrate or kill. Seriously.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm okay with that. It's a
Wait, what is that? What is that? I've never heard that film.
Soup.
Oh.
I was just waiting for Aiden to ask that. I was hoping he would.
Oh. I'm sorry, I haven't
I
been
hope
around
my-
enough to ask. I'm sorry.
Haven't watched a
I'm so
Doctor
sorry.
Pol, Incredible Doctor Pol, where he castrates cows and stuff. All no, never mind.
Oh, okay. Oh, gosh.
Hopefully someone out there understands what he's talking about.
Boy,
All right.
That's a
Alien
doozy.
abduction, basically. Yeah.
no thanks.
I was thinking of an alien abduction when I realized what that meant. I'm
So,
like,
now,
Oh, that was perfect. I'm
Oh.
Like, oh.
Oh.
so anyways, there was
That
a
perfect.
there was that one doctor that I was just mentioning that he went in front of. I don't even think I have his name down on here anymore, but he was basically a former
Oh,
abortion doctor, and he got to the point where he didn't want to perform
Do it
abortions
anymore,
anymore. But there's a reason as to why he didn't want to do it. Not just because all of a sudden, I don't want to do it.
Right.
You know, it was because he had a child. And that child
That's right.
that he finally successfully, they got pregnant. I mean, it took them a while. They struggled with it. But after they got pregnant, they ended up getting in a car accident, and then the kid was killed, which is real sad, but
Absolutely.
it's unfortunate. And he, after that, I mean, the graphic stuff he saw when his kid got
Something
killed,
talked about,
yeah, and that changed him, like, internally. I mean, his brain, he's seeing, like, images of his own child, you know, when he's performing these abortions, you know?
PTSD,
My
kind of.
gosh.
Yeah, like
No,
PTSD,
absolutely.
and he's
absolutely.
now, and he sees this
literally.
child, like any child that he's aborting, he sees that child
his
as a human being.
That he's
not
taking the life from.
Yeah, he's actually taking the life. It's not just, you know, oh well, you know, just gonna kill it, move on.
It's kind
You
of
know,
sad
it's
you have to
just-
experience that to
Yeah.
change your mind, but I mean,
But I mean, that's really what it boils down to, I think. I mean, it's sad that
Sometimes
you
you have
can't
to
just change someone's mind by saying, "Oh, look, this is bad." You know, you're killing a human being, because they still won't believe you.
sometimes you need a reality check.
Yeah,
No, absolutely.
but basically,
it's a horrible reality check. But it's like, as terrible as it sounds, it's like that one death of that child
Changed his life,
changed his life, but also kept so many abortions from happening, probably, or
And
at
now-
least from that
and now
person
he,
being
um,
responsible for them.
yeah.
But anyways, on that like right after this happened, or whenever he went back to doing abortions, like after his child got killed, the next one after, he was struggling to get
Struggling
through
to
it,
do it, yeah.
and he got through it, and he's like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not doing this anymore.
He's now full life
And now,
activist, probably,
yeah,
right?
now he's, you know, talking to people about it and saying, don't do this, you know, don't have your kid aborted, you know, and he described basically the same thing Aiden described, just in that paragraph about the poison and all that. He went into detail, and it panned out to the crowd, you know, the group that was in the courtroom,
They were
and
stunned,
they were
probably.
just like, you could see the look of disgust on their face, you know, just looking like
They look sick,
they
probably,
looked like
yeah.
they wanted to throw up, you know.
If people
Ugh.
would know, even if the people would be able to see who were having the abortions, what was truly going on. I mean,
So
you don't have an abortion without drugging up the mother before it happens,
Oh, yeah.
or at
Oh,
least
yeah.
having side effects. So you're talking to a mother who's inebriated. Is that the correct term? Like,
Yeah.
Something like
not,
yeah, just
not in it all the way. If
Yeah,
she's-
not-
She's loopy.
She's loopy, and so she will not remember or understand exactly everything that's going on.
But then when
Right.
she
So-
figures out what happened, she'll be
so
like,
she
why did I-
cannot make correct decisions.
She can't. So it's like you can walk her into the OR,
Kinda like
and
being
you can
drunk,
have
kind of. I mean, it's
Yeah,
Yeah, you
pretty
can't make
much.
right decisions
You
when you're
cannot-
drunk.
like if that mother was going in there and they saw and she saw what was happening. I don't know if you could justify that. I don't know if the
No.
mother would justify that. Now I
she'd
could
be
be
like,
wrong.
no. She'd
I
be
could
like,
be wrong, but like some people really feel trapped. This is why it's like, okay, I want to bring this back around a little bit. Is that the reason I said this in the beginning, the first part of this podcast, is we're not talking to specifically and saying it's an awful thing for people who are uninformed. I'm not saying every person who has an abortion. I think it's an immoral action, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's like,
That's consequences that's fallen in the world, first of all.
yeah, absolutely, I agree with that. But it's the idea that if you never present the idea that there's another way out, and they take that one way that they know of, as horrible as it is, it's still it's a unjust thing. It's a
Now-
immoral thing. But we're talking about this. We're talking about like, and from a Christian's perspective, this has little to do with what we're talking about. But like, it's the idea that there are there's consequences for
For
our
your
sin.
actions.
So.
Wages of
So the
Yep.
the consequence is that this person is able to let's keep it in a religious point is able to sin because they're able to say yes or no to this.
because of free will.
Right.
But if there's a point to say that it's like let's say alcoholism. Let's say that if it was not just drunkenness, let's say everything. Like let's say taking a sip of alcohol was a terrible thing. I don't think that's the case, but let's say taking a sip of alcohol was everything. But then there was bars on every street that you grew up on.
Right.
Now, would you say that
Kind
that
of
person?
influences-
Yeah, absolutely. Is that going to be an influence? Yeah, absolutely. If that's the only thing you know, is it going to be easier to sin?
Yeah,
Sure.
it's gonna
So
be a
the same-
temptation. It's
It's the
what
same
we
way
use,
that
yeah.
if the only resources that you're handed to are pamphlets on abortion,
Yeah.
and you're never teaching them
That's
about
why-
the idea of anything else, never teaching them
Adoption.
about adoption, never teaching about raising the child, then they're gonna more likely it's the consequence of people who are acting immoral. It's the consequences of
Well,
them. It's
I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine.
That's kind of the mom's fault too for not looking into. Like,
No,
blood
but I'm
searching
s-
for
yeah,
different.
I mean, you shouldn't be
absolutely.
giving the
you still have
mother.
the choice. You still have the choice.
No,
I'm not
no, but I
saying
mean,
it's
like
not
looking
an
into
immoral
different. No,
thing.
I mean like looking at sites like pregnancy choices and that kind of stuff. Like,
Right.
But guys, you
Like-
shouldn't be giving the mother a choice when she's not right, in
the
the
head,
moment.
yeah, yeah.
She's
Right,
kind of like
absolutely.
kind of loopy,
Right.
can't make right
Yeah.
decisions. I
Well,
don't understand why you would ask the mother in that situation.
I heard a story from Lotto Clyde. What was her name? That was an ex.
Oh, the ex-abortionist.
She said when one of the abortions they asked for money from her wallet. Like, you want me to go get like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really messed up.
like
they.
like instantly as soon as you walk into a like it's kind of a different note than what we were talking about. But like
Yeah.
they'll
Well,
ask you for money
with
right
the
up, straight
real
up.
quickly on like the
Because it
Planned
would be the other
Parenthood, because
thing,
we were
yes.
mentioning talking about that.
Yeah.
They
Margaret
assist
Sanger,
with they
bro.
yeah,
Ugh.
ugh. But they
Yeah.
assist with
Whoa. Okay.
they assist with abortions, and they suggest it oftentimes. They're
Right.
like,
That's all
okay,
that
Well, that's what I'm saying.
they suggest, and they also like. I'm okay with it if I'm okay with Planned Parenthood if they weren't doing abortions
If they actually
and
did
Oh yeah. Well,
And they
I agree
weren't-
with Planned Parenthood, except
like,
for
it's
everything
okay.
that they do.
no, I mean, no. What I'm
You know,
saying is
Right,
like it's okay
that's
with
the thing that, yeah.
I mean, listen, it's with health. I mean, they're focusing somewhat towards the health of the woman, but that's okay. Like focusing towards the health, but to
Absolutely.
suggest abortions is not right. And
They
to
have to
also
go
go,
to it,
you may not know this, but going behind like the like a kid could go in there or something, and then just get
that, yeah.
and then get something done, and then the mother or the parents won't know about it. Like
You're
they're
saying,
not
like,
they're
an
not
abortion without the parents' consent.
like say like this teenager or whatever got pregnant or something
Mm-hmm.
and then went into the Planned Parenthood. They're not required to talk to the parents and say, hey,
they're not.
look, this
You
is
guys
going
heard
on.
about that before.
Yeah, they can just
Because
go ahead
it's
and kill it. Yeah.
it's under like
Law.
some law that says that like since people,
That's how messed up our society has become.
But
first of all.
see,
it's
that's
a
the thing, it's like-
justification. It's just
it-
it's
See,
awful.
especially okay. See,
It is an
here's
excuse.
the rule that I
It's an
think.
excuse.
Since the child is, and I'm gonna say child because they're
Yeah,
under
it's a child.
18. If they're under 18 years old, then they need to have like parent consent. Like, okay,
Yeah.
you know what, you can
Right.
go in there and get this done. But
Yeah.
there's just so much wrong about the Planned Parenthood. That's why it's like just don't. It should be. They should just shut them down
They're
because
very
if they're not
manipulators.
going to take away these certain aspects of it, like don't do abortion, just focus on the health part. Like just help guide you through
Focus
the
on their
pregnancy
name.
instead
Focus
of
on their name. I mean, I know that sounds
Well,
corny, but
as
they're
far as
Planned
it-
Parenthood. They should be
Right.
focusing on
Parenthood.
not-
Yeah,
Yeah,
parent-
it's exactly. It's
exactly.
It's
and-
the idea.
Yeah.
It's this whole twisted phraseology that we use. It's what is it?
Ben Shapiro likes to talk
Pro-life
about-
or
Ben Shapiro likes to talk about.
pro-choice. It's like what choice? What are we
Is
talking
it-
about? A
yeah,
choice
it
between
shouldn't
a
be called
moral or
pro-choice,
moral?
just pro-life.
Like yeah, and then there's also
know?
like the idea of what,
Pro-life and
what did you
pro-death.
just say? You said
Wait, wasn't Ben Shapiro the
Planned
one
Parenthood.
Wasn't Ben Shapiro the one that talked about using like certain words and how, or was it Jordan Peterson that said like we use certain words to? No, it was you that said that we use certain terms to like when I was talking to you about like, do you get find a
Nope. Just continue.
certain terminology, certain words can be used. To,
Yeah,
like,
it
describe-
influences the brain. Like it basically tricks the
Oh,
brain.
No,
yeah, I think
no,
that's it.
no, it's you and me were talking about
I
this.
don't remember it.
I don't
I'm
know how to-
sorry.
I don't know,
Yeah,
Aiden,
That was a while ago.
What I'm getting from it is that like you use certain words if you want something to happen. Like you,
Yeah,
if you're
that's
trying,
what we were talking
Okay,
about. Yeah.
that's,
If-
that's what I was. Yeah.
if you're trying to influence somebody and they know like they're against a certain word, you got to use a different word to try to trick them into thinking,
like making
okay,
fun
all
of
right, yeah, I
Right,
understand.
right.
Have you ever seen Making a Murderer?
No, I
Yeah,
haven't.
I saw some
series
of that.
that-
I don't really like that series, but
But anyways,
they did that
there was a lot of
with the kid, yeah.
controversy to that show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, and
it's a justification show.
Because here's an example, Aiden, about what you're talking about.
It's still interesting though.
With President Trump, with building the border wall,
Mhm.
all you got to say is like build a wall or build a barrier. If you call it a barrier,
people
then
are
the
gonna-
Democrats are like, oh, okay, I like that because we don't like
More, yeah,
walls,
more,
we
yeah.
like barriers.
Barriers,
You know,
yeah,
when I think
yeah.
of a barrier, I think of those little things that are on the highway, those little
Yeah.
like
Right.
brick things. That are like,
but yeah,
oh,
let's
I can
Build a
climb over
fence.
those.
If someone
Build a
says,
fence.
let's build a fence,
Build
it's a
a
lot different than...
Chain link
Build a
fence.
wall.
Yeah.
Build a wall.
Let me in.
Yeah, yes.
Shaking the whole
No,
fence.
but you're right about the linguistics of it. Is you're talking about
I like that
words
word.
that... What?
Linguistics, I love that word.
You like the linguistics of the linguistics?
Linguini. I love linguini.
But if you look at that and you say, if you say something like you see advertisers use it all the time, they'll be like, they'll talk up a
Facebook.
product. They'll talk up a product that,
It's fake.
I mean, oh, it's shiny.
It's fake.
This mic is shiny. Well, does that have anything to do with how it works? No, but it's shiny.
Are you taking
fell
shots
into
at me?
I know.
Because I'm
I know.
like, because it sounds like I really like this mic. That's why I want to use it.
Right.
You know,
no,
not
no,
like
no, exactly.
because like
We
you're
fell
talking
into
about
that
one mic
trap.
that's like a handheld thing. I'm like, that thing is not
Oh,
something
yeah.
I had in
to be
mind.
honest, we fell
Talking
into
about the
trap. We
podcast,
fell into
Yeah,
the
we
trap.
were
development
just
of the podcast, yeah.
improvements
Yeah.
and all that, but
Yes, sir.
But no, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
the idea is, like, they'll talk about the thinness of your computer, and some people it doesn't really matter. So it's like, oh, it's 2.7 millimeters thick. It's like, holy cow, that is a thin laptop. But, or no, they'll say,
that is thick.
no, but they'll say,
THICC.
they'll here, I'll switch what I was going to say.
Yeah,
They'll say,
please
they'll say
do.
it's 5 inches thin instead of saying 5 inches thick. Because just the changing of thin to thick, it means the same thing. You get the same
With
point
two
across.
C's.
but you know what I'm saying? It's like you're calling it thin because you're wanting to think it's smaller,
Oh, good
even
lord.
though you could say it's 5 inches thick. Oh my goodness gracious!
I can't take it seriously
I
anymore.
can't get out of my head.
Every time you say thick, I think of two Z's.
Thick.
Sorry.
All right.
That's funny hearing him say it too.
So we got some thick statistics over here. How's that clipping microphone? It's great.
Yeah, Aiden, stop clapping, please.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
I'm
so
sorry, I can't help myself.
I want to glue your hands behind your back, with some Gorilla Glue. That stuff is dangerous.
goodness.
Not good on your skin. Anyways,
Oh, good
so talking about some abortion statistics, yeah. So real quickly, going back to earlier in part 1, we talked about abortions due to rape or incest.
Yeah.
That one is only 1.5% of abortions are from that.
Yeah.
So
no, yeah,
that
absolutely.
that
The
which is
statistics are
very
small.
it's very
The
small.
thick statistics are small.
Yeah, thick.
Yeah.
Anyways, but then 85% of those
Unmarried.
abortions are unmarried couples, you know, or unmarried, you know.
I mean, that's kind of obvious.
And then 50% is under 24.
Right.
I believe it's like, you know, because like we talked about before, is like the older you are, the better decisions you make. You know what I
because
mean?
your
Like
brain,
your brain is more developed, and it like I don't think it's fully developed until about 30,
30,
I-
Yeah,
I
that's
think
about it.
32,
like 29,
exactly.
30, something like that.
32,
Well, they used to say
exactly.
25, and now they're saying more about 30, which shows you. A
How
lot of
long
things.
it
How
takes
much we
for us
know
to
about
develop.
science,
Yeah.
first of all, how much
I'm
we
an
think we know.
idiot. No. That's,
Anyways, yeah, that explains a lot. I think these statistics are pretty good. But
Yeah.
like it says, 25% at current rates, an estimated 1/4 of U.S. women will have an abortion by age 45.
Wow.
That's crazy. Think about that. That's a marketing of something. That just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you have to market something to have
You have to market the
20%
statistics.
of
And 60% says have at least one other child. So like they had, what I'm getting from this is like they already had a child and they're like, I don't want another child. Like, this is already enough, you know?
right.
And then
One
it's
kid's
like,
enough.
I mean,
yeah,
like,
one
the
kid's
statistics
enough.
on, like, here you can see some race coming into this, like
Oh.
like 60
Margaret That-
or I think no, it's over, like, there were more black children aborted last year
and white.
than were actually born. More black people
Oh.
aborted than were given birth to.
I mean,
there would be twice as many
I don't wanna make this a
black
race
people
thing,
per
but-
each, like,
that's really what it is, though. I mean, they
When it comes down
discuss
to it,
that
it's a
all the
late-
time on the news.
Margaret, whatever.
Margaret
her name is,
Sanger,
she
Margaret
was the
Sanger.
first one that-
definitely, guys, look into Margaret Sanger if you want to know anything about where the birth control movement came and started.
Oh yeah.
Like we said, not all birth control is the same. but definitely the birth control movement. She started
Yeah.
out
Oh, yeah.
being more moral, but then she flew off the rails. Flew
Some
off
of her
the
quotes are absolutely disturbing and sickening. Like,
Well, I think we need to wrap it up.
Yeah, so I
So-
think that's basically covers everything that we wanted to discuss. Really, And-
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely leave us comments down there.
Yes,
like seriously,
please.
these are
Sound
these
off.
are especially starting off. They really help us guide our conversations. You can critique the heck out of us.
yeah,
you can
because
seriously
say
say
what
why
most
we're
people-
all wrong.
You could say, but
It'll sting a little bit. It'll sting a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
No,
but
We'll get over
I'm
ourselves.
I'm sticking by my
Oh, yeah.
argument, so I mean, I'm gonna defend it. So if you guys want to argue with me, just
Go
hit
ahead.
me up.
We
Do
will-
it.
Do it.
Okay, we can have a calm,
Slide into the
reasonable
DMs.
discussion, and
Don't turn into barbarians.
don't turn into barbarians. I think we can agree on more than we think we can. Like generally speaking to
Yeah,
our viewers, like we can
I
agree.
think all three of us pretty much
But I'm
agree.
saying, like, to our
generally
viewers,
agree.
we could agree on a lot of things. We might
I
not
think
agree
so.
on everything, and we might even not agree. All three of us might not
Oh, yeah.
even agree on
just
things.
like the thing I talked about tonight. Well,
Right.
like we said that.
So, as far as that comes down to it, I think that's a good place to end. I think that we all, just generally speaking, we all are trying to go for, like, all of us and the whole world are mostly trying to go to a better place. And so, we need to, like, break up the left and right, more or less,
I'm Michael
and,
Jackson
and
says,
come
"Make it
together.
better."
You got to
place.
look
And,
at the truth of it. You know,
right.
you
right.
know, find
Yes, sir.
find the truth that people get caught up with the parties
Okay.
and stuff. You know, like getting just bandwagon.
Oh,
you
I'm
know, join
right,
on
I'm
one
left,
thing.
yeah.
Right.
You know, and
We're all going for
Oh,
one
my-
thing. We're
my-
going for the good.
yeah, just
My
go for
family says
what's
the
right.
exact same thing, and my family says I'm sick of like the left and
Left
right.
and
We
right. Yeah,
look-
it's just pulling us apart. And I think we need to get over it. We need to get over ourselves. And yeah, I think that's a good place to
Yeah,
end it.
so thanks for listening to us,
Yeah,
guys, and,
awesome.
and watching us, I guess, now.
Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah.
Hopefully the
So
video
see
comes
you
out.
guys next time.
Thanks,
ya.
guys.
See ya.